Hey there, lovely viewers. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more empowering content. And to all our wonderful subscribers, a big virtual hug to you. Today, we've got something incredibly valuable to share with you. We're diving into The Art of Saying No, a fantastic book by the talented Damon Zahariades. This book is a game changer for anyone looking to regain control of their time, energy, and life. So if you're ready to embrace the power of no, make sure to stick around. And guess what? If you're already itching to grab a copy of this game-changing book, check out the link in the description below. Let's dive into the incredible world of saying no with confidence and grace. Getting comfortable with saying no. People usually think of the word no as something negative. It's what someone says when they turn down your request. It's the answer you get when your boss won't give you time off. If you want things to go your way, no is the last thing you want to hear. Many people feel the same. That's why saying it can be tough. But in this book, you'll discover how to say no without feeling bad about it. You'll learn that saying no is a skill you should learn. Because if you always say yes to others, you're actually saying no to yourself. Chapter 1, The Habit of Trying to Please Others. What makes someone a nice person? Is it when they're always ready to help? Are they the ones who are dependable and meet everyone else's needs? Well, a nice person might be all of that, but there's a hidden side to these nice people. They're actually trying to please others all the time. The author, Damon, used to love pleasing people. He'd always say yes when asked for help. Being available made others happy, but it made Damon unhappy in the long run. Every time he said yes to someone else, he was really saying no to himself. He didn't have time for his own needs anymore. He sacrificed his own time, energy, and money for others. For example, back in college, Damon had a pickup truck, so he became the go-to person for moving. His friends expected him to help them move, and he always did, even if it meant canceling his own plans. Eventually, he grew resentful towards his friends. So, how did Damon break free from people pleasing? First, he sat down and thought, if he always put others before himself, when would he have time for his own needs? He realized that he needed to take care of himself. Putting others first all the time leads to anger and resentment. Damon reached a point where he was upset with everyone he cared about, and he was in a bad mental state. But then he had a realization. He could still help others, but he had to prioritize himself. Being a people pleaser wasn't entirely bad. He could still be there for people, but he needed to think about himself first. It's like when you're on an airplane and there's turbulence. Oxygen masks drop down, and you're supposed to put yours on first before helping others. If you try to help everyone else first, you might not get enough oxygen and end up in a bad state. So, taking care of yourself is important. Second, Damon learned how to be assertive. This is an important skill. Being assertive means standing up for your own needs and wants, even if others disagree. For instance, imagine you and a friend have different political views. You can still express your opinion without forcing your friend to agree. Being assertive is key to saying no. Third, Damon figured out why saying no was so hard for him. You'd think it's easy to just say no whenever you need to. How hard can it be to say one word? But Damon realized that the challenge wasn't saying the word itself. It was feeling guilty right after, even though saying no was the right thing for him. Chapter 2, Challenges in Saying No. Now it's your turn to figure out why saying no is difficult for you. This step is important for understanding yourself and shedding that guilty feeling. Remember, the goal is to say no without feeling awful afterward. First, one reason you might struggle is because you were taught that saying no is impolite. Maybe you worry about hurting someone's feelings or offending them. You can see their disappointment on their face, and it's painful. But remember, saying no isn't wrong. It's okay to prioritize yourself, especially when you have a lot on your plate. If someone takes offense, it's their issue. They're not respecting your priorities. As long as you decline politely, there's no need to feel guilty. The second reason you might find it tough to say no is due to low self-esteem. We all have an inner critic that fills us with doubt. It makes you feel like your desires and needs aren't as important as others. It convinces you that others are more valuable, achieving their dreams while you're not. You might feel useful by always saying yes, thinking you're helping them. But this is wrong. Your worth isn't tied to your achievements. You deserve time for yourself, to put your needs first. The third reason is the desire to avoid conflicts. Damon struggled with this too. Confrontation made him uneasy, so he'd say yes even when he wanted to say no. It's tough when someone doesn't like you, but aiming for constant approval is impossible. If someone gets upset when you decline, let them be. Saying yes when you mean no prioritizes them and ignores your feelings, leading to resentment. Breaking the habit of always saying yes isn't easy. Damon took small steps to change. He began by saying no in non-confrontational situations. For example, declining salespeople's offers at a store. With time, you'll build the courage to say no to family, friends, and coworkers. Saying no is like working a muscle. It grows stronger when you use it more often. Chapter 310, Ways to Politely Say No. Without feeling bad. The first tip is to be clear and honest. Have you ever been in a situation where you have a lot of work to do? You need to finish a report, prepare for a presentation, and have an important talk with a coworker. You're feeling stressed and busy. Then, another coworker named Jen comes by and asks for your help. You hesitate and say you're busy but not sure if you have time. Instead, be direct. If you're swamped with work, say sorry and explain you're occupied. Don't hesitate. This will encourage people like Jen to keep asking. Be honest and clear when saying no. The second tip is to avoid delaying your response. Sometimes you might want to put off saying no. You ask for more time to think, even though you already want to decline. But delaying can lead to problems. The person might think you'll eventually say yes. And when you finally say no, they'll be annoyed. Don't delay. Say no when you need to. The third tip is to use a different word instead of no. People can get upset when they hear no. Sometimes you can communicate your decline in a gentler way. For example, if your uncle asks for a ride, you can explain that you're working on something important. This helps them see you have commitments. Adjust your words to decline in a kind way. The fourth tip is to skip excuses. It might seem contradictory, but giving excuses can backfire. If you make up a reason and get caught, you'll feel guilty. Plus, people might see you as unreliable. Avoid excuses and politely decline. The fifth tip is to own your decision. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I don't want to." This helps you show that you're in control of your choice. Empower yourself by being clear about your decision. The sixth tip is to suggest checking back later. If someone urgently asks for help, you can offer to assist later if you're available. This way, you prioritize your tasks while still showing willingness to help. Offer help later if it works for you. The seventh tip is to avoid lying about your availability. Lying might seem easy, but it's not a good long-term strategy. Instead, decline politely and explain your own plans. Be honest about your feelings and plans. The eighth tip is to propose an alternative. If you can't help, suggest someone who might be able to. This shows goodwill and offers a solution. Help by recommending another person who can. The ninth tip is to suggest someone more qualified. If you're not the best person to help, guide them to someone who is. Direct them to someone who can offer better assistance. The 10th tip is to explain you're too busy. If your schedule is packed, let the person know. Show them your commitments to make it clear you can't help right now. Use your busy schedule as a reason to decline. Bonus tips. The first extra tip is to stand your ground. Some people can be really insistent. Even if you firmly say no, they'll keep trying to change your mind. Remember, their persistence is their issue, not yours. If someone won't accept your refusal, calmly let them know you won't change your decision. You can also ask if they've asked others who might be better suited to help. Stay firm when faced with pushy individuals. The second extra tip is to stay polite. Dealing with someone who won't accept your no can be frustrating, especially if they become rude. It might be tempting to respond rudely, but it's best to rise above it. Their rudeness reflects on them, not you. Always decline with politeness and respect. The third extra tip is to tackle your fear of missing out. Opportunities don't come often, whether it's a job promotion or a chance to make new friends. The fear of missing out can make you agree even when you shouldn't. But just because you have a chance doesn't mean you should always take it. Think about the consequences of always saying yes. Over time, this fear will become easier to manage. Conclusion. First, you've discovered the importance of breaking the habit of constantly pleasing others. Saying yes to everyone means saying no to your own desires. Prioritizing yourself is crucial. Second, you've learned that being assertive is key to saying no confidently. This isn't being rude. It's prioritizing what truly matters. Third, you've explored the reasons behind your struggle to decline. Recognizing these reasons is vital for overcoming the difficulty. Fourth, you've gained insight into effective strategies for saying no. Be direct and honest. Avoid making up excuses. Stick to your decision even if someone gets upset. If you can't help, suggest alternatives. Always maintain respect. Don't stoop to rudeness even if the other person does. Standing up for yourself can be intimidating, and pleasing others might seem easier. But living this way isn't sustainable. It's time to prioritize yourself. Thinking about your needs isn't selfish, it's selfish. It's self-care. After all, if you don't put yourself first, who will?